In China, Shanghai, more than 830,000 homes were destroyed in an earthquake in the matter of a day. The magnitude was at a staggering 8.0 on the 23rd of January, 1556. In the past half millennia, society has advanced immensely, but earthquakes are still a worldwide killer, both physically and economically till this day. Although a handful of people can afford repairs, a large portion of society spent decades of their life working towards buying a house just for their hard-earned shelter to shatter in the matter of minutes. If society continues at this rate, the housing crisis will get even worse, and more people will live on the sickening and dirty streets that are not viable for human shelter. Hello. My name is Ellen, and my partner here, Ben, and I are both attending school at MEF International School, and we are both in the 8th grade. Today, we are going to present a way to prevent catastrophic, both physical and economical damage under the 11th Sustainable Development Goal of maintaining sustainable cities and communities. The problem we are undergoing the process of attempting to find an innovation towards is the prevention of economical damage towards the destruction of houses across the globe via natural disasters, more specifically, earthquakes. This innovation will hopefully allow our society to become more sustainable and provide reliable housing towards society and therefore directly link towards the 11th SDG goal of sustainable cities and communities. When our trials began across the Gizmo, the obvious choice was to just use the most expensive items as they usually feature a higher price for a good reason. But our trials proved otherwise. For example, wood is around 20% cheaper than concrete, although it can withstand damages far greater than concrete ever could. We also figured out that asphalt and gabbles are half the price in comparison to their respective competitors, hip and metal, but still outperform them. Another prime example of this is the use of vinyl. A cheaper but heavily under-considered approach is replacing expensive and lackluster sidings such as brick and wood by instead using a material that is a quarter of the price, vinyl, due to its low maintenance and high tolerance towards earthquakes. After multiple attempts and the use of various materials, me and my partner have come to the conclusion that bedrock is by far better than other surfaces such as wetlands due to their higher stability and resistance towards earthquakes. Springs are also by far the best material for the foundation of regularly sized houses, but we also realize that a lot of people live in apartment blocks. If this is the case, then we have proposed the use of vinyl sidings along with a steel frame to support the increased weight, although it features an increased overall price. It is lower maintenance and better for the long run due to the fact it will long laster than all of the other materials. But for the foundation, a thick concrete slab, better known as a moat foundation, is what most optimal for a general society of people living in apartment blocks. This foundation is especially better when we go over apartment blocks due to the use of steel, one of the best resistors to earthquakes, and a clever layout featuring various columns to distribute the weight evenly throughout the entirety of the block. Me and my partner resulted with a unique layout of how an apartment block would look using the moat foundation. Firstly, we use columns to create a layout on how the apartments will be separated, but instead of using it on a smaller scale, which is commonly found inside of garages, we made it larger to make it viable for human shelter. Next, we will use vinyl walls as they are just as cost-effective and will be more viable, especially for the increased area covered due to the size difference of an apartment block in comparison to a regular house. The use of a gable roof type and asphalt layer up top leads to the most cost-effective roof for both houses and apartment blocks, as well due to their cost-effective resistance against earthquakes. But by far, the best material, especially for a regularly sized house, is foundation clips, as they help keep the house in place and help the foundation of the house to preserve the house and prevent it from any damage. We can use these clips as well, but on a much larger scale when creating apartment blocks to add on to the firm and reinforced foundation. In conclusion, earthquakes are an inevitable part of life that no matter your financial and living situation, you will encounter. The best you can do to prepare is by using unique options such as springs or foundation clips for a house or cost-effective options, such as a combination of gable and asphalt roofs with a vinyl wall. You must also take into consideration which parts of the world you live in, especially faults where earthquakes most commonly happen. Now that you are aware of ways to prevent critical damage from an earthquake, spread the word, in hopes that someone you value will not turn out like the unfortunate millions that have died to earthquakes since the dawn of time. Thank you for listening.